Siddhartha Gautama was born into a life of privilege. He lived in a palace. He had every comfort imaginable. He was shielded from the hardships of the world. Yet young Siddhartha felt a deep sense of unease. He sensed that true happiness lay beyond the palace walls. Material possessions could not satisfy his longing for something more. He yearned for a deeper understanding of life's purpose. Siddhartha grew into a young man. He remained troubled by existential questions. He knew that old age, sickness, and death were inevitable. He wondered about the nature of suffering. The thought of his people enduring such hardships weighed heavily on his heart. One day, Siddhartha decided to venture outside the palace walls. He had lived a sheltered life. He was unprepared for what he saw. His encounter with the realities of life would change his path forever. Siddhartha ventured out of his palace with his charioteer Channa. For the first time, he encountered the realities of life outside the palace walls. These encounters, known as the four sights, deeply shook him. First, he saw an old man, his body ravaged by time. This sight made Siddhartha realize the impermanence of youth. Next, he encountered a sick person, racked with pain and disease. The sight of suffering made him understand the fragility of health. Then he came across a funeral procession. A lifeless body was being carried to its final resting place. Death, he realized, was the ultimate fate that awaited everyone. Finally, Siddhartha saw an ascetic, a wandering holy man who had renounced worldly possessions in pursuit of spiritual liberation. This encounter offered a glimmer of hope. It suggested a path towards understanding and overcoming suffering. The four sights deeply troubled Siddhartha. He was overwhelmed by the universality of suffering. He felt compelled to find a way to alleviate it. He knew that remaining within the confines of his luxurious life would not provide the answers he sought. So, at the age of 29, he made a radical decision. He decided to renounce his princely life and embark on a spiritual quest. One night, Siddhartha left the palace. He left behind his wife, newborn son, and all the comforts he had known. His decision, known as the Great Renunciation, was a testament to his compassion. He was determined to find a way to end suffering, not just for himself, but for all beings. Siddhartha exchanged his fine clothes for the simple robes of an ascetic. He sought guidance from various teachers and spiritual masters. He immersed himself in meditation and philosophical discussions. He was determined to find the root cause of suffering and a way to transcend it. Section 4. The Middle Way. Siddhartha spent years practicing extreme asceticism. He deprived himself of food and sleep. He subjected himself to rigorous physical austerities. He believed that by mortifying the body, he could weaken his attachment to the material world. However, despite his efforts, enlightenment eluded him. He grew weak and emaciated. One day, while meditating under a tree, Siddhartha had a profound realization. He realized that extreme asceticism was just as futile as a life of indulgence. Neither extreme led to true liberation. He discovered the middle way, a path of moderation between these two extremes. This realization was a turning point in his journey. He understood that the path to enlightenment lay in cultivating wisdom and compassion, not in punishing the body. He decided to nourish himself and regain his strength. He knew that a healthy body and a clear mind were essential for his spiritual practice. Section 5. Enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. With renewed energy and a clear purpose, Siddhartha sat beneath a peepal tree, now known as the Bodhi tree, determined to reach enlightenment. He vowed to meditate until he found the answers he sought. He meditated through the night, facing various temptations and inner demons. However, his resolve remained unshaken. As the morning star rose, Siddhartha attained enlightenment. He became the Buddha, the awakened one. He had penetrated the true nature of reality and discovered the path to liberation from suffering. Through his profound insight, he formulated the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, the core teachings of Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths explain the nature of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the path to achieve that cessation. The Eightfold Path, consisting of right understanding, thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, provided a practical guide for living a moral and fulfilling life free from suffering. Section 6. A legacy of compassion and wisdom. After his enlightenment, Buddha spent the rest of his life sharing his wisdom and compassion. He traveled extensively throughout India, teaching the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the principles of loving kindness and mindfulness. He emphasized the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of cultivating compassion and understanding. Buddha's teachings resonated with people from all walks of life. His message of compassion, wisdom, and personal transformation transcended cultural and social barriers. He welcomed people from all castes and backgrounds into his Sangha, or community of practitioners. Today, more than 2,500 years later, Buddha's teachings continue to inspire millions around the world. His legacy of compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness offers a timeless path to inner peace and understanding. His message of awakening is as relevant today as it was centuries ago, reminding us that the path to liberation is open to all who seek it.